Okay, we're recording now. I just don't like the sound of them blowing them. It interferes with my audio space. It's a particularly awful sound. Like, it's right in the listener fatigue range. It's like,
Yeah, that's the main reason why I wouldn't want a leaf blower. It makes too much noise. I know for a fact I wouldn't like it myself. So I know for a fact no one would like the sound of that, especially neighbors. I don't think anybody want to be woken up to a loud, hurricane basically.
yeah, well, I'm not complaining they do it too early. I'm complaining they should all do it at the same time. I want everyone's leaves blown in the course of 1 hour during the week. And the whole rest of the week, there's no leaf blower sounds, right? But instead,
Yeah,
it's the worst. It's the opposite. It's staggered so that nobody's ever blowing leaves at the same time. And we're always hearing a new leaf blower.
yeah.
Anyhow,
You know how people are. They won't really what's it called. I think more neighbors are probably like not into talking about getting a sketch schedule to do something for the benefit of everybody in the group, if that makes sense, or the
yeah,
neighborhood.
that's never going to happen because everyone's accepted leaf blowers.
Yeah, I know.
Coughing is the leaf blower of my channel. Rachel and I cough, and people are probably like, "Will you stop blowing leaves?" Okay. So, can you tell me which you'd rather go to, Poland or Latvia, and why?
Poland or where?
Latvia.
Latvia. I never heard of Latvia,
It's
but
Eastern European more than Poland. Poland's more Western European.
mm, um, I've been in Poland before.
You have.
I traveled a lot. Um, it was one of my goals, like before I actually like get official and like and start, getting in track. Because before I start moving toward what I really want to do in my life, I wanted to see as much places as possible because I know for a fact when I get a lot older throughout my life, I'm probably not going to have much time to actually travel because I'll be stuck in wherever career I have. So I like, okay, I'm not in this since I'm not at that stage yet, I can go ahead and get all the traveling I want out. So when I actually, get into a set mode where I focus on something, um, there will be no doubt of I wish I could have did this, I wish I could do that, because that probably would have hit me into like a low depressive state. But
When you were in Poland, did people come up to you a lot of times and ask you to help them screw in light bulbs?
no.
Oh.
That's the thing about traveling. Like, okay, let's just say when, let's just say like Canada, all the Caucasian places love black people, and all the places like Jamaica or Mexico or Africa, some places in Africa loves, they love the opposite skin tone. I always find that fascinating. I thought that was dope. But
Yeah.
uh, I'll probably say Poland. I found a lot of peaceful places in Poland. I never heard of the other place, but I'll say Poland. There's there's a lot. I think there's a lot more peacefulness in Poland than most other places.
Cool.
I believe so.
Um, so when you talk about eventually settling into something, do you have any thoughts about what that might be? Do you have plans for where you'll be in 5 years?
Um, Not specifically. Um, the I want to find a career that makes me happy. I don't know what that is yet, and I need to hurry up because time is only so quick like if you stop paying attention to time, time will just like right past you. But I want to find something that makes me happy because like anyone can make money. Anybody can make money, but when you're dragging yourself to make money is just it won't be a happy life at the grand scheme of things. There was a time I was working at a Subway. Like I like Subway a lot.
Me too.
Because I make my own subs and I used to throw it in there. Oh, you about to say something?
I said me too. I like Subway too. It's delicious.
Yeah, but I was about to yeah, basically I just threw everything on the sub and basically I was like my first job was like a manager at Subway. They didn't even I guess because they seen that they had a feeling that I learned quick, but they just said, okay, oh, you be a manager, and I was like, okay, for the most part. I wouldn't say I like going out as much to make the sub in front of the customer, but my customer service was always an immaculate thing to witness. Like I know for a fact, a lot of people in the subway didn't even walk into the place if they didn't see my face. I
Um, did you
thought that
enjoy
was,
yelling at your underlings?
huh?
Did you enjoy yelling at your underlings? White bread, Gina!
I don't.
White bread!
I'm not a yelling type of manager.
Oh,
I don't. I don't yell. I think
well, you're missing
that's
out.
too.
You are really
Huh?
missing out there.
I mean,
I'm joking.
like there'll be times where I may get frustrated, but I never really. It was never really a big deal. It was never a big deal. Besides this one guy, like he came in the job musty. He came in the job with his butt crack out. It would just, uh, it would drive me crazy. And and he will leave like if we were working two different shifts, right? He will leave the place completely messy where I have to come in and clean it up. And it kind of built up into like a very
Yo, Brody,
firm,
what am I,
aggressive
your fucking
message.
mom? Did you take that
That's
approach?
a kind way of putting it, but like, but I sent him a message and he forwarded it right to the district manager. I see that. Uh, I was like, man, I saw that coming from a mile away. But then
was
I already like
was the
I knew
message
he
you
was gonna
sent?
do that, so I already had like pictures of like I already had pictures and video of what everything he was doing. So when he messaged me, I already had a
You had
video in
it
case.
set
I
up
already had a
already.
video in case.
Yeah, okay.
But
That's
I'm
smart.
not mad at him though.
That's good
Some people are just
anticipation.
raised different. Uh, some people not that great.
Right. So, okay, cool. The let's talk a little bit about uh, creative endeavors and taste in art and music and stuff.
Hmm.
So, if you were going to express yourself creatively, would you prefer to do so with writing a poem, writing a short story, writing an essay, writing a song, making a little video, um, making a sculpture, doing an interpretive dance, or something like that?
Um, I always been comfortable with writing. Like even like before I even got into elementary school. Like before I was in elementary school, I would like the first thing that I would write was like books. I would write books, haiku, poetry. Well, haiku is poetry, but like I would write. I started writing off books before I even thought about writing music. Um, Me writing music kind of came off when I started being more, open to people, talk to people. I was always good at writing.
Is there
I
an
can I
instrument you write on, or you write with just your voice?
uh I'm talking about writing in general, like
I know, but I'm talking about.
books.
You mentioned writing music. Do you write on an instrument, or do you write just you have the melody in your head and you write the song in that fashion?
Um, I don't know. It could vary because um, one thing about my writing is I cannot write if I don't have no emotion or some type and emotion. And the hard thing about that is like I cannot draw from inside emotion. I really have like very low concept of like my own inner emotion until at the too late point, like it that part can be kind of self-destructive in a more of a outside world type of thing. But if it's more on an inside thing, it'll be more like, oh, I could have wrote this at this time, or uh, it can eh,
You'd
it's a
like to
very
remain. You'd like to remain in your affect or emotional display, emotionally neutral or positive, but sometimes you push that too far and then you snap and display negative emotions.
the thing about unless emotions is coming from other people. Like, okay, let's just say bring up the depression thing you talk about. Like, I can feel depression in other people, like this in a quick snap, like almost instantly. But the thing is, when it comes to me having depression, I will not know I have depression, or if I'm sad, or woo 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 woo, until it's like way too late, where it's already like in the danger zone. And I don't know, I've been trying to understand, the concept, like, when the only concept I feel my inner emotions is between like temperature checks, or if like how your heart beat faster when you feel a certain way, or slower you feel a certain way.
Yeah,
But then but then it's like, okay, I can exercise and get that same thing. So it's kind of like it it's a very confusing thing. And it, like, myself, like my own self inner emotion is very confusing,
yeah.
like very
I tell
confusing.
you
But
this: I hate it when adrenaline makes me shaky, which it does. Like going into battle of some sort. I'd love to remain like fully calm during that whole process, but I get this rush of adrenaline. I get this taste under my tongue, and I get physically shaky, and my voice even gets a little shaky. I hate it. It's like I need to just chill. Like this adrenaline is great and everything, but it's not helping my performance here. So
yeah, I think it like I think any situation without calm per se is a very is very reckless, and it opens you up to mistakes, if that makes sense.
if you're not calm,
Huh?
if you mean if you're not calm,
Yeah, like, I think calm is more than just, like, just, I know, like, it like a euphoric feel. Calm is like where you can like clearly think, like, let's just say someone yelling at you, da 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 da, you'll still be able to have the mental capacity to like notice something from the distance. Or let's just say the per like one person yelling at you, right? If you're not calm, you wouldn't notice his or her friends approaching you at the same time. So i I think calm in the midst of everything is one of those little short, small, subtle things that has a lot of impact on situations. It's very important. I
well,
think so, at least.
I will tell you something that I noted about Rachel is one of the biggest problems she had with her INTJ X is that um, he didn't he wasn't responsive to her shifting the mood. So like let's say I'm coming at somebody aggressive and they come at me back aggressive and it starts to escalate. But then let's say the other person decides, okay, I don't want this to escalate, and lowers the tone of their voice and quiets down. Well, I, without thinking about it, lower the tone of my voice and quiet down because okay, this person's being reasonable. The INTJ she used to go out with didn't wasn't responsive in that fashion to following her modeling of the emotional content, right? So I think that I don't know, it's just an interesting thought I had that linked to what you were saying. So let me ask you then about some specific songs. Can you tell me about some specific songs that you like that I would know, or and specific songs that you don't like that you think are bad songs that I would know? Like a popular song that you like and a popular song that you don't like.
The thing about me, I like all genres. Like I like every genre besides bluegrass.
That's fine. But look, for example, Shake My Ass and WAP are, I mean, it's not Shake My Ass, Show My Ass by Young Unique Monique or whatever her name is, who's a very underappreciated kind of underground rapper, but she should be like huge. I don't know why people don't like her more. Anyway, Show My Ass by her and WAP by whoever sings that song are in a similar genre and similar message and stuff, but one of them's a really great song and one of them's a gimmick.
I think WAP is kind of
It's a gimmick.
Yeah, I felt like it was a gimmick. I mean, it's not it.
Whereas
Like,
Show My
you
Ass
gotta like
by Young Unique Monique is not a gimmick. Have you ever heard it?
no,
Let me
not
just
yet.
play a little bit of it for you. Okay.
What's it called?
I'll
Why you
put
pulling
it.
that
I'll
up?
put it in here. I'll put it in here in the autonomy. You can play videos in here. I gotta find it. The thing is,
Songs like WAP is only there to make money. It meant to like sell for a quick moment. Then did Britney?
Britney Spears, good Britney Spears song, bad Britney Spears song.
I don't know if she got any that bad song. I don't even know if Britney Spears got a bad song. I haven't heard one.
I mean, do you have the albums, or just do you listen to the singles?
I got albums.
Okay, so I don't know what a lot of her album songs sound like, but I tend to like her singles.
I think I know Eminem got some good or bad songs.
Okay, so what's an example of a good Eminem song and a bad Eminem song?
Oh, I had it in my head and it just whisked away. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Oh, what was it?
All right. Well, how about this? What's better, Toxic or Hit Me Baby One More Time?
You gave me some choices. I think I prefer Toxic. Toxic.
I think I do too, but it's primarily because it's produced so much more well than Hit Me Baby One More Time, which is kind of suffers from some early '90s production.
I think like a lot of music nowadays is just based off sales. That you will rarely find an artist that make music for longevity. So don't expect most of these artists to be here like a year or two from now.
Right. Well,
really
only
should.
a tiny fraction of a tiny fraction of a tiny fraction of tracks ever attain what you might call timelessness. But you know what's another good Britney song is I'm Not That Innocent. That one. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not that innocent.
That sounds like insane.
Well, you know, I think Brittany's trying to suggest that she's got a taste for dick when she says that. That's what I think she's trying to suggest. But, you know, who am I to know? I'm not an expert on double entendres. Okay, so let me ask you about
Yes.
how clear you are about those sort of matters generally. If I were to, if you were a judge of a song contest, would you find it likely clear and easy to determine the winner? Or would you be conflicted and go back and forth and go, at this point, I can't even tell anymore?
Like, say that again?
You're the judge of a song contest. You've heard 5 songs, and you've listened to each of the 5. Do you, after listening to each of the 5 songs, after listening to all 5 of them, is it most likely very clear to you, right off the bat, which one is the best one? Or is it something that you'll go back and forth about and then eventually figure like, yeah, I can't even tell anymore? Which is more likely?
I can find the best one pretty clearly.
Okay.
Pretty clearly.
Fine. I would like to ask you a couple of TI questions. If 30 Arabs are required to open a new water park, and five Canadians equals 1 Arab, and you have 24 Arabs, how many Canadians do you need to open a water park?
Say that again?
If you need 30 Arabs to open a water park, and 1 Canadian equals 5 Arabs, and you have 24 Arabs, how many Canadians do you need to open a water park?
And 1 Arab equal 5, right?
1 Canadian equals 5 Arabs.
And you need 30?
You need 30 Canadians?
No, 30 Arabs.
Yeah, so I'll repeat the question. You need 30 Arabs to open a water park. And you need, and you have Canadians as well. 1 Canadian is worth 5 Arabs. You have 24 Arabs. How many Canadians do you need to open a water park?
So I have 24 Arabs and 1 Canadian?
No, you have 24 Arabs. It requires 30 Arabs to open a water park. How many Canadians do you need? You can't get any more Arabs.
Okay, so... Repeat that question again?
Okay. Oh, it wasn't yours.
Yeah.
I thought it was unplugged. Okay. You need 30 Arabs to open a water park, but you can only gather 24 Arabs. Now, it's also possible for you to gather Canadians. 1 Canadian is worth 5 Arabs. How many Canadians do you need to open a water park?
So just ignore the Arabs altogether, or just answer the question of how many Canadians?
You know, you're part way there to the water park. You have 24 Arabs, but you need 30.
Okay.
But you can't
So
find
I
any
already
more Arabs. But you can find some Canadians, but you can't find 6 Canadians.
Okay, so I already have 24 off the gate, right?
You have 24 Arabs already gathered, yes.
24. One Canadian and 24, that's 29. And if you can't gather any more,
Arabs.
yeah, we can't gather no more Arabs.
Correct.
Okay, so You need 30 of them. So I guess 2 Canadians if you already got 24 arrows.
Correct. And if you had to be exactly 30, then you'd have to get rid of 4 of your Arabs.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. That's why I kept asking the question over and over and over. Like, do I have to get rid of some, or do
Yeah,
I?
that's a good point because I didn't make it clear that you could go over 30. I should have said you need 30 or more Arabs.
I think that
That would
that
have.
30 part was confusing me up.
Also, I've never asked that question before or any question like it. I'm going to ask you another new question, new kind of TI question as of yesterday. So I'm going to incorporate that one in the future because it's a new kind of TI question that I just came up with right now. So anyway,
Nice.
the one I came up with yesterday as a way to ask a question is if the tomato, if it freezes, then the tomatoes will die. Is a conditional sentence that has 2 statements in it. The first statement is it freezes. The second statement is the tomatoes die. Okay?
Okay.
Again, if it freezes, then the tomatoes will die. Now, each of the statements in that sentence can have a value of true or false. In other words, it can be true that it freezes and true that the tomatoes die. Or it could be true that it freezes and false that the tomatoes die. Or it could be false that it freezes and true that the tomatoes die. Or it could be false that it freezes and false that the tomatoes die. Under only one of those 4 permutations is the sentence as a whole false. Which one?
Say that again.
Sure. If it freezes, then the tomatoes will die. That comprises 2 statements. It freezes, the tomatoes die. Each of those statements has a truth value, true or false. Therefore, there are 4 permutations. Either the first statement is true and the second statement is true, or the first statement is true and the second statement is false, or the first statement is false and the second statement is true, or the first statement is false and the second statement is false. Only under one of those 4 permutations is the sentence as a whole false. Which of those permutations makes the sentence as a whole false?
Now, what was my options?
So there are 2 statements. It freezes and the tomatoes die. Your options are the first one is true and the second one is true. They're both true. The second option, the first one is true and the second one is false. The third option, the first one is false, the second one is true, and the fourth option, they're both false.
I'm looking. Did you already tell me the answer, or I'm trying to answer the
And
answer?
you're trying to tell me which one of those 4 makes the sentence as a whole true. I'm sorry, false. Only one of those 4 things makes the sentence as a whole false. The sentence as a whole is, if it freezes, the tomatoes will die.
Now I'm trying to make both of them false or both of them true.
You're trying to make the sentence as a whole true. The sentence as a whole. I'm sorry. Let me ask the question again, the way I always ask it, where it and listen and ask any questions you have again. Okay. If it freezes, then the tomatoes die. Only one of the 2 statements. I'm sorry. If it freezes, then the tomatoes will die. That makes up 2 statements. It freezes and the tomatoes will die. Each of those statements is either true or false. So, when we look at the sentence, it's either true, it freezes, true, the tomatoes die, or true, it freezes, false, the tomatoes die, or false, it freezes, true, the tomatoes die, or false, it freezes, false, the tomatoes die. Only one of those 4 makes the sentence as a whole false. The sentence as a whole is, if it freezes, then the tomatoes will die. Which of the 4 makes the sentence as a whole false?
would be then the tomatoes die?
No, the answer is number 2. If the first statement is true and the second statement is false, then the sentence as a whole is false. So in other words, if it freezes but the tomatoes don't die, then the statement, if it freezes the tomatoes will die, is false. But if it doesn't freeze and the tomatoes don't die, the statement, if it freezes the tomatoes will die, is not false. If it freezes and the tomatoes die, then the statement, if it freezes the tomatoes will die, is not false. And if it doesn't freeze but the tomatoes die, then the statement, if it freezes the tomatoes will die, is not false. It's only false in circumstance 2.
I'm not gonna even lie to you, bro. I'm so confused.
All right, that's fine. Okay, no, that's helpful. It's helpful because it's somewhat revelatory. Okay, let me now go on to and so when we look here, you can see the first 3 words: cottage, Swiss, and cake. What word goes with all 3?
Cheese.
Correct. Cream, skate, water.
Ice.
Correct. Loser, throat, spot.
Throat spot. Loser, throat spot.
If you don't know, just say skip.
Skip.
Okay. Show, life, wrote. Show, life, row.
No clue about that one.
Okay, so we'll skip. I'm gonna leave the skipped ones unshown. Night, wrist, stop.
Then we're looking for the word that associate with it, right?
The way it goes is like this. For example, cottage cheese, Swiss cheese, cheesecake. So this word goes either before or after this word. Ice cream, ice skate, ice water. In this case, it's sore. Sore loser, sore throat, and sore spot. In this case, it's boat. Showboat, lifeboat, rowboat. Get it?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so.
Okay, how about night, wrist, stop?
Night, wrist, stop.
There's a lot of them, so if you don't want to spend a lot of time, I just say skip and do the next one, you know?
Skip.
Duck, fold, dollar.
Bill.
Correct. Rocking wheel, high.
Chair.
Do, comb, bee.
Honey.
Fountain, baking, pop.
Skip that one.
Preserve, ranger, tropical. Working clock tower.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Cry French ship.
I feel stupid for not getting that. Oh my goodness. But I really have no idea about that one.
I can't figure it out either. Battle cry. Battle friend, battleship. Okay, 2 more. Two more just for fun. Line, front, fruit, drunk, and bump, egg, step.
Line, fruit, drunk. And so we're trying to find words that correlate with all 3, right?
Yeah, it's got to either work in front or behind the word. So, for example, it could be...
Oh, that's what my problem. I was only doing it with the words, like all the words in the back or all the words in the front.
No, it can go,
I wasn't looking at it
it's like in the cheese
ways.
one, right? Swiss cheese, cheesecake, and Swiss cheese and cheesecake. Well, those are on opposite sides. See,
I wasn't really thinking about that. Oh,
all right. So, like,
Wait a sec. What is it? What is it? No, that don't make sense either.
Like when I look at first one, I go, okay, well, front line, because we just put that on the CAD, but that doesn't work with the other ones. Or trunk tank, but that doesn't work with the other ones. Up step egg.
Oh no, I don't know.
I don't know either. How about child scan wash?
I was looking at that. I realized I couldn't figure that out, so I tried going down. Try I think for what's it called? Where's the one with the lock on it? One of them had lock, and I think that might be padlock, maybe padlock, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm gambling. Padlock.
Dead.
Deadlock. Okay. Dead.
Dead end. Deadline.
Deadline. Deadlock. Okay. I can see how that makes sense.
Control place rate. I don't know. Lounge hour napkin. Cocktail. Artist hatch root.
All right. I've never heard of cocktail hour. I was about to say cocktail, but I never heard of a cocktail napkin or a cocktail hour.
Well, you don't drink enough alcohol, obviously.
Oh, I don't go into bars, but
I mean, it's more often referred to as happy hour now, but artist hatch root, I've got no idea. Pet bottom garden. Oh, I know what that is, but I think it's because I remember it. Mate shoes total. I don't know. Self attorney spending. I have no idea. Land hand.
I don't either.
Land hand house.
Land hand house. Try home, maybe home.
Farmland, farmhand, farmhouse.
What's a farmhand?
Somebody who works on a farm. Somebody who works on a farm.
Oh, I did call them farmers, but okay.
No, the farmer is the guy who owns the farm. Hungry order belt. I don't know. Forward flush freezer.
Blade.
Straightforward, straight flush, as in poker,
straight flush,
and a straight razor. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that would be my second guess after blade. I need to slow down with my thinking. Jesus Christ.
Cast side jump. Way ground weather.
Way ground.
Whew. Okay, that's all the ignoring and I can put up with.
Yeah, I started getting these wrong when I was rushing myself. Not gonna lie to you.
Okay, so look, what we just established there is your NI is much stronger than your TI, which basically narrows you down to a couple possible types. So it eliminates ISTP, ESTP. Well, let me also address this question of FIFE. It's pretty clear to me based on self-reporting, which is somewhat unreliable, but also based on our interactions together, that you are FE and not FI. And what I mean by that is there are behavioral cues, like if I start talking like after you start talking, and so I'm really technically interrupting you, even though we sort of started at similar moments, you'll defer and not continue talking, not try to win the talking battle, and I'll just push forward what I have to say. You also are attentive to the, like, well, let's explore a little bit more about what you self-reported, which is that you're more likely to be inspired by feelings garnered from external sources rather than internal.
Yeah.
How do you feel how do you feel right now?
I don't feel no way, to be honest.
Okay, and how do you think I feel right now?
No, you're getting kind of, I don't know. I want to say relaxed, but then there's a little bit of tenseness. Not like a lot, but like, I think you're relaxed, but there's a little bit of tension.
I was just, I guess, probably at that moment thinking about going into the next part where I explain how people are likely to type you. So
I about to say, yeah, you seem kind. I knew you was tense. You just seem kind of tense.
People are likely to type you. People are likely to type you as ISFP, and they're possibly likely to be type you as ENFJ. And it's probably because the answers they're going to say as to why is because you did poorly on the quote-unquote TI questions. And third slot TI and INFJs, as I've explained before, is a fairly broad range of like skills and it improves quickly with practice and familiarity with the forms. So it's like I ask you questions of a sort that I've never asked before for TI that you've heard for sure. So I'm going to ask you some kinds of conventional questions that I normally ask for TI. I want to see how those look as well. So if I were to tell you, if I were to ask you who in relation to me is my mother's father's wife's daughter's husband in relation to me.
My
mother's father's wife's daughter's husband.
Mother, father, daughter, wife's husband.
Mother's father's wife's daughter's husband. My mother's father's wife's daughter's husband.
You're welcome, Pete.
My mother's
father's wife's daughter's husband.
And who is that relations to?
Me. My mother's father's wife's daughter's husband.
My mother's, like my mother's.
My mother's father's wife's
grandpa,
daughter's husband.
daughter. aunt, uncle, then
Only daughter's husband.
only daughter. Oh man, you just okay.
Okay, so my mother's, father's, wife's, only daughter's husband.
My mother's father's. My mother, father, wife, only daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only daughter, husband.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be? Wouldn't that be me?
No, it's my dad.
Or a step.
It's my dad.
Dad. Okay.
Because my mother is my mother. My mother's father is my grandfather. My grandfather's wife is my grandmother. My grandmother's daughter is my mother. My mother's husband is my father. Okay, so let me try another kind of TI question. If all pigs oink and Porky is oinking, can we conclude he's necessarily a pig?
If all pigs oink.
And Porky is oinking, can we conclude that he's necessarily a pig?
Yeah.
Okay. If I have 2 iced teas equaling 4 lollipops, and there are 6 lollipops per bucket, how many iced teas are there in a bucket?
Say that again.
2 iced teas equal 6 lollipops, and 6 lollipops equal 1 bucket. How many iced teas are there in a bucket?
There's two iced teas equals 6 lollipops.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 2 iced teas in a bucket.
And 6 lollipops equals 1 bucket.
6 lollipops equal 6 lollipops equal 1 bucket, right?
Mm-hmm. And 2 iced teas equals 6 lollipops.
2 iced teas equals 6 lollipops.
6 lollipops equal 1 bucket. How many iced teas equal 1 bucket?
Now I'm having a hard time hearing with this phone.
Okay.
Can you say it again?
I said 2 iced teas equals 6 lollipops. 6 lollipops equal 1 bucket. How many how many iced teas equal 1 bucket? 2 iced teas equal 6 lollipops. 6 lollipops equal 1 bucket. How many iced teas equal 1 bucket?
Okay, 2 iced teas
equals 6 lollipops. 6 lollipops equal 1 bucket. How many iced teas equal 1 bucket?
Wow. It seemed easy, but it's at the grasp of my tongue. At the 2 iced teas equals 6 lollipops. And 6 lollipops equals a bucket.
So
how many iced teas are in the bucket?
Right.
Okay. 2 iced teas equals 6. 2 iced teas equals 6 lollipops. So that's 3 lollipops per tea. And how many lollipops are in the bucket?
2 iced teas equals 6 lollipops. 6 lollipops equal 1 bucket. How many iced teas equal 1 bucket?
And there's 6 lollipops in the bucket?
Yes. 2 iced teas equals 6 lollipops. 6 lollipops equals 1 bucket. How many iced teas equal 1 bucket?
Two iced teas equals 6 lollipops.
Rachel, can you answer this question for me, please?
2 iced teas, 6
If
lollipops.
there are 2 iced teas equals 6 lollipops. and 6 lollipops equals 1 bucket, how many iced teas equal 1 bucket? I'll repeat it. 2 iced teas equal 6 lollipops. 6 lollipops equals 1 bucket. How many iced teas equal 1 bucket?
2 iced teas.
2 iced teas equal 1 bucket. Because 2 iced teas equals 6 lollipops, and 6 lollipops equal 1 bucket, right?
I guess so.
So it's like A equals B equals C. Okay. Let me change the question for you and see if you answer it differently. One iced tea, just one iced tea, equals 6 lollipops.
Okay.
6 lollipops equals 1 bucket. How many iced teas equal 1 bucket?
1?
Right. So if now we change the question to 2 iced teas equals 6 lollipops, and 6 lollipops equals 1 bucket. How many iced teas equal 1 bucket?
2?
Correct. Okay.
Man, gosh almighty. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, I tell you,
Okay.
that's another kind of question I've never asked before. Exactly. And when I asked Rachel, she said 1 initially. And I think what's happening here is that basically what I'm saying is A equals B equals C. How many, what equals C that's not B? And the answer is, well, it's A, obviously. But the thing is, the 2 or the 1 in A switches you up. So it's like there are 2 iced teas that equal 1 thing. And then that equals 6 things. And then 6 things equal 1 thing. But really what it's saying is A equals B, B equals C. So whatever number goes into B is the same as the answer for C. So if two iced teas equals 6 lollipops, then 2 iced teas also equal 1 bucket, because 6 lollipops equals 1 bucket.
Yeah, like when I was adding it up and saying it, like I don't know, like I got the first 2 part, then the third part kind of like just zigzagged everything.
It's almost a reverse trick question because it doesn't require you to do any math at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, let me talk to me about. You're confusing me. Let me try Inky Pinky. Have you ever heard Inky Pinky questions before?
No.
Okay. Here's an example. The clue would be
don't need to stress about it.
The clue would be something like hilltop water spout. Okay. And the clue would additionally include Inky Pinky, which tells me that the answer sounds like meow 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 meow. Okay, Inky Pinky, and the answer is going to rhyme, and it's going to mean the same thing as the clue, hilltop water spout. So the answer to this one is mountain fountain, hilltop mountain, water spout fountain, Inky Pinky. They rhyme, and they're each 2 syllables. In that instance, it doesn't always have to be 2 syllables. Here's another example: roadway flesh, ink pink. The answer is street meat.
I do not think I'll be good at this one.
Okay, that's fine. Then let me try a different kind of extrovert intuition question. I have a new invention that I just made. It's a 1-piece bathing suit for a man who wants to be modest up top. It's designed basically like a woman's 1-piece.
Sound like a romper.
But it has attached to it a collar that has those sort of metal circle eyes that you could clip things through, and along there it has manly things like a Swiss Army knife and a little camouflage flashlight and a compass and fire starting kit and things like that, so that the person wearing the male 1-piece will still feel manly even though they're in a 1-piece bathing suit. Because the bottom of the 1-piece is still cut in the same fashion as a woman's 1-piece, except just a little bit wider. So it's kind of aggressive on the bottom while being modest on top, you might say. But anyway, the only names the inventor of this invention, can come up with is male 1-piece bathing suit with assorted survival gear attached. And the marketing crew says that's not a good enough name for it. Can you help me come up with a snappy product name?
Like you asked me that question, like my brain is like pulse, like my whole brain is just thumping so hard. Um,
If
like my whole brain, like I can't even feel the back of my brain.
if it
I
helps
can't even
you,
feel the back of my brain thumping. Wait a sec, just give me a moment.
sure.
Um,
I just wanted to say the following: if it helps to throw out some possible things and sort of talk about it without actually committing to them, feel free. If it helps to be reassured that you can take your time and just sit in silence and let it happen for a bit, I will be patient and just sit here and let you do your processes in silence, and you don't need to feel rushed. Okay? I got bong rips to pull anyway.
I I really can't think of nothing solid.
Okay. How about the bathing badass?
Mm,
Okay.
not really that snappy though. It's a name, but it's not really that
Okay,
snappy.
sure, that's fine. How about the suit, the suit and survive?
The what?
How about the suit and survive?
Yeah, but it's not really snappy. Like it's a name, but it won't really sell nothing.
How
You know,
about
it won't.
modest but
It
manly?
it just wouldn't get nobody's attention.
Okay. How about um, maximal banana hammock?
It's funny, but people probably just look at it and be like, "What the heck is that?" and just keep on walking past.
Okay, well, what if we weren't even to reference its one piece-ness or survivalist and just call it the Rampage? It's a masculine name.
Yeah, but I can see a whole bunch of jokes coming in from the outside world with a girly fit called Rampage. It
Okay, all right, then fine.
yeah,
Okay, I'm thinking. Let's see. Um, let's call it done. Period. It's pretty arty, pretty manly, pretty slick.
no,
No. Okay.
no,
Okay.
no, no.
How about youth culture's dankest brand? No, not gonna work on. Not gonna appeal to the youth people. Okay. How about smash that dank meme brand swimsuit? No.
Like the names you've given is kind of like the thing about people and selling brands is like if the name of the brand is too forceful, it's gonna drive people away. A lot of it brings too much,
But remember,
energetic
we're trying to
force
sell.
to it.
But you gotta remember, we're trying to sell woman cut one piece bathing suits to men.
Yeah, but it's not. not snappy. It's not snappy. It's not gonna make no one go like, let me get that right there.
Okay.
It's just not snappy.
How about if it says right on the front of it like, yeah, I am that fierce, and you just get rid of the masculine shit. We just go full blast appeal to people who expressly externalize their sexual ontology.
And there's like a one-piece bathing suit.
There's two varieties of it. One that says, yeah, I am that fierce. The other one says, yeah, I am that secure in my masculinity.
I mean, if you're selling it to someone that's gay or something, no disrespect to them, but if you're selling to someone that's gay, yeah, I'm fierce could work. But
right, that's what I'm saying. You have two lines. You got 2 lines of them. You got the yeah, I'm fierce line, and you got yeah, I am that secure in my masculinity.
I mean, I think a lot of young age Caucasians or people that's trolling may buy the I'm secure one just to make videos about it, but as a name selling brand that someone will regularly wear.
Yeah, so you're not saying that people, because look, all it needs to be really sold is the idea that nothing better attains a strong, virile, masculine security than wearing a woman's one-piece bathing suit, right? If you get that message sold, maybe it's got to be more subtle than yeah, I'm that secure in my masculinity.
So you're trying to get like straight men to wear this.
Yeah, we're trying to get straight men to wear this. Okay, so for example, like just have maybe a real small no homo somewhere or something, or have like because it gets me tail, because I look great in this and it gets me tail or something like that. Something really hyper masculine. In the ads, we'll get some ESTPs. They'll be drinking beer. They'll be surfing. They'll be wearing female one-piece bathing suits.
I don't think it will work.
They're going to have all the chicks around them. And the chicks are going to be like, I love your look. Prince, oh my God. When are you
People going to know it's a gimmick.
When are you start getting into fashion like that?
It will not go that far. This one can't be like like massive CEO, because like people gonna be throwing me ideas and I'll be like, no, it's not gonna work. Like they'll be telling me how it's not gonna work. It's just not. It just oh my goodness.
Okay.
I mean, you could get like the LGBT behind it, but it gonna be like trying to climb like the Bridge Khalifa with like no safety gear, just straight hand to hand climbing with the whole male thing. It don't seem plausible. I'm not trying to be mean about it, but
Prince,
it's just not plausible.
Listen, this is one of my new planned. See, I dream someday of being such a multi-billionaire that I can implement my grand art project of opening a large series of money-losing businesses, which includes, the manly suit, which is really just a woman's one-piece bathing suit, and it also includes Food Cube Caliente, which is the same as Food Cube but with a spicy Mexican flavor. It's right next door to Food Cube. It includes God's Big Heaven Church. It includes, which primarily its business model is that it's a subscription holy water delivery service. Okay. I've got all licenses all the time, which licenses for people for things that they don't need licenses for, such as being a home gardener. And what are some of my other losing business? Oh yeah, more than just condiments. It's a business that has mostly condiments, and its business model is after you go through McDonald's to get your food, you go through the drive-thru at more than just condiments to get better condiments than they give out at McDonald's. You get your fancy mustard, you get your aioli, you get your everything. Okay. There's a couple other key ones I think I've probably forgotten. Amps, Ramps, and Lamps, which is a store that sells amplifiers, wheelchair ramps, and lamps all in the same location. So,
Wait, say that again. Say that one again.
amps, ramps, and lamps. My store that sells amplifiers, wheelchair ramps, and lamps.
That may work somewhere in the West Coast.
You'd have to
I
find a
don't think
place
it
where
will do.
all three of those things. You have a population of people that all want all three of those things together. You need to find a population that have people who are poorly amplified, poorly lit, and are not wheelchair accessible, plus handicapped. Then you're in the money.
That definitely sounds like a West Coast thing. Are you in Cali?
Yeah.
Are you in California?
Yes, but listen, these business ideas are designed as part of a large-scale meta art project of ridiculousness. I don't expect the actual business I think that it might succeed would be Food Cube. The whole idea of Food Cube is what I think we've all longed for a long time, where you can just go get a cube of food for cheap that has all your nutritions in it, and a cube of drink for cheap. And you just eat your cube of food real quick and drink your cube of drink real quick. And then that's it. And no fuss, no muss, no napkins necessary. Just easy squeezy, right?
That would actually be pretty perfect for. You could probably sell that idea to NASA. That would be perfect for NASA, actually.
Well, look, if your food cube is basically casserole that tastes pretty good and it's cheaper, it's extra cheap because the whole idea of Food Cube is efficient, rendering eating into a thing that requires as little attention as possible, and so the Food Cube is going to keep you full for a long time, so you don't have to eat again for a while. It's going to you can get it either cold or hot. If it's cold, it's like firm and coagulated, and you just bite. You get it all down in like 4 bites, but be done with your lunch and be totally full though. And just for the consistency with the theme, the drinks will come in a cube and instead of a circle. But then everyone will complain because it won't fit in their drink holder. So we'll have circle drinks for the drive-thru. Anyway, and the girls is going to be stolen from Hot Dog on a Stick. They're going to wear Hot Dog on a Stick costumes, except instead of being like Hot Dog on a Stick costumes, they're going to be a cube. All the tables will be cubes, and all the chairs will be cubes, and all the artwork on the wall will be cubist.
And we're talking about this is all one idea, right? And not a whole bunch of other stuff scattered, right?
This is my grand meta opening a large series of money-losing businesses idea.
Money losing?
Yes, it's an art project.
Like you want to lose money.
It's an art project, not a business endeavor. Now, look, the only one that I think might actually be a good idea that would actually make money is Food Cube, because there are a huge population of people out there like me, and the ads would specifically say, hey, you don't care what you eat. You just want to know you get all the nutrition you need. It's going to keep you full for a long time. You're not going to be hungry or thirsty, and you won't have to think about eating again, and you won't have to spend very much money on it. Come to Food Cube.
That, like, if you actually had like a good slogan, that Food Cube thing will work. But I think NASA will most definitely try to snatch that idea from you.
It's not like it's some sort of special technology. It's like appeal to the laziest, least food-oriented people. There's a large population of us out there who don't want to hassle with food, and it's basically everybody who doesn't have SI in the first or second slot. And let us solve our biological needs with as little trouble, hassle, and money as possible. I don't want to have to spend a bunch of money on groceries. I don't want to waste a bunch of time on cooking. I don't want to even waste the time it takes to go to the fridge and get a thing out of the fridge. And yeah, ideally Food Cube would have a delivery service where it brought food to you and actually made sure they handed it to you open in your hand so you can just eat it right away and before going away, to make sure you eat all the time when you're supposed to eat so you don't get hungry.
But then you have to worry about where the other person's hands been.
No. He's got gloves on. It's COVID. It's post-COVID. He's got gloves up to his ass. Okay,
that food cube. I think the Food Cube sounds. I think that's actually a great idea, but it's actually a good idea. Like I said before, I think NASA will most definitely have that idea,
Okay.
like got or some way. They're probably working on something like that.
The key,
Most
the,
most most likely,
the key thing to
most
remember,
likely.
though, is that these business ideas are not to be validated on whether or not they're going to work or make money, but on how funny it'll be to have a business open that's doing that. For more than just condiments. What a hilariously bad idea for a store. But it's the kind of thing you can imagine somebody actually opening. Its business model is that people will go to its drive-through after going through like Burger King's drive-through because they don't like Burger King's condiments enough and they want to get fancier condiments and are willing to pay for them at more than just condiments. But listen, hey, it's more than
You see
just
what Apple do?
condiments. It's more than just condiments. We've got we've got garnishes. We've got toppings.
I mean,
I want to like I want to film and make like a documentary. I want to film the employees at these businesses trying to doing their jobs, and going like, I can't believe we're still in business.
I mean, what's it called? Like, I think if you take the Apple route, what Apple did with their products, like, yeah, it's kind of like it become gimmicky at a like Apple started off in kind of a gimmicky focus, but they gimmick their way up to the top, like it wasn't a bad idea. It was actually pretty genius, to be honest. Like that, I don't know. It just
Okay, let me get back to your typing. Listen, you are a very confusing one. The evidence, as far as I can tell so far, most strongly supports ENFJ, even though you seem like an INFJ. But I want to test your SI directly. Okay.
I was about to say I am the farthest. Like I wouldn't see myself as an extrovert. Like
Right.
not even like
I know. Let me test your
that's-
SI. Okay. Um, can you articulate a series of minor details that occurred following breakfast up until noon or something? For example, well, before I had breakfast, I really had to poop, so I ran to the bathroom and I pooped and I washed my hands and then I said, I better brush my teeth while I'm here. So I brushed my teeth and then after that I ran in the kitchen and I was like, oh shit, the cereal's getting soggy. I better eat it quick because I hate it when it gets soggy. So I quickly scooped some sugar around it and I ate it real quick and it was so good. And then like that kind of SI story. Can you do that?
for this morning.
Yeah.
No, not even. Not even look. I nearly forgot to email you. Like I nearly like I put earphones in, so I was like I was bored today, right? So I want to listen to some music. So I listened to some music and just started, dancing around, being silly, And I really almost forgot that I even had this today. The thing that got me like focused back in on, this is like I hit my toe on the corner of a door like very hard, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And
That's really
that's
interesting. That
yeah.
it would
If
seem
I
to
didn't hit my
suggest
toe, I would have completely forgot. Like
it seems to suggest that physical SI phenomena that are unrelated will nevertheless trigger activity in metaphysical SI phenomena. That's very interesting. Thank you for mentioning that. But okay, so there seems to me there's two possibilities that you're either ENFJ or ENTJ, and you say you're not an extrovert by your own standards, right?
yeah, I'm nowhere close to an extrovert
So who did you travel to Poland with,
myself.
and where else did you travel?
Basically, like I always had a dream. Like I said, I always wanted to travel. This was like a dream as a kid. Like when I was a kid, I seen TV where I seen people fly on planes and just seen these beautiful places and food. And I thought to myself, like I think I was about sometime in the elementary school years. I thought to myself, I want to travel before I get focus on my career, I will travel. And that's been in my mind ever since elementary school, I believe. Since elementary school or before elementary school. So me wanting to
Why
travel
did
was
you want to
something that
travel? What did you
stuck
think?
with me.
What did you think was appealing about traveling?
Um, the sightseeing, like the feel of the air, the stores, the people. I mean, I'm not gonna say I went around talking to people. I didn't talk to people, but
Did you meet people
uh,
nevertheless? I mean, maybe people came up to talk to you.
yeah, that's the thing about me though. Like I can be minding my business, and people just see me and just like they just become a magnet towards me. They just kind of like, but I mean, I'm not I'm not going to sit there and be rude to them because they found my energy, comforting. This is a this is a whole life. That's been me my whole life. My energy comes off to people very hugging and very warm. I mean, I'm blessed for it, but sometimes it get exhausting over times. So even now, that's still a thing. So I dress like, let's just say I'm going to Walmart, which is dreadful. Like I speed walk and fidget with my hands like a lot. It kind of crippling, very crippling. But
Okay, I want to take now some time to discuss why you're so interesting, and I'm so glad that I decided to do this because here's the deal. It breaks down to a fundamental disagreement in cognitive functions and typology that is a reasonable disagreement. It's not unlike C.S. Joseph typed this lady that I typed yesterday, who wasn't clearly an SFP. He typed her as ISFJ, and she's like, I don't know, I didn't identify with anything about that. So there's that sort of thing, which is, it's like that's not even a reasonable discussion to have about. Well, maybe she is. It's like, okay, this guy's just blowing smoke out of everybody's ass. The other person who typed this lady besides me typed her ESFP. And that's where the reasonable disagreement comes in. So, for you and Zandy, both. Zandy is somebody who self-identifies as an ENFJ and has your affect. Like, in other words, there's nothing hyper about her. There's nothing colloquially extroverted about her. In contrast, let's look at Sean O'Neill. He's an ENFJ, and he is textbook colloquially extroverted. So, the conflict, and it's a legitimate one, comes down to this. Which is a more accurate representation of somebody's personality type? Is it consistency with our understandings of what the affect or description of a type looks like? In other words, is the type that most bears the resemblance to our understanding of the average of display of a given type, is that the determinant factor? Or is the determinant factor the result on the function analysis? So on function analysis, you're an ENFJ. Cut and dry. Now, I agree, you don't seem like an ENFJ. You seem like an INFJ. And I spent this entire typing session thinking you were an INFJ. And the reason I spent a lot of time with the TI, and the reason I spent a lot of time with, in general here, is because you were challenging to type. You're a challenging person to type. My fundamental position is, while the disagreement on the affect versus function analysis question is a legitimate one, and not one that is resolved, my position on the question is that we prefer the function analysis, that it's more definitive, and that, in fact, we can explain the differences in affect through Enneagram. So, in other words, you and Zandy are some Enneagram types of ENFJ that's more chill, and Sean's an Enneagram type of ENFJ that's more hyper. So I don't expect you to agree with me at the end of this, okay? I think you probably
Yeah.
are still very convinced you're an INFJ. And I don't blame you for thinking that. And I want to stress that that school of thought represents a legitimate disagreement with my own school of thought. While I would argue and do argue that you should prefer my approach, it's not just bullshit like C.S. Joseph or Dave Superpowers' OP with their 500 and whatever subtypes. It's a legitimate disagreement to argue. I agree with those who would say, by affect and overall analysis, you are an INFJ. But I nevertheless maintain you are an ENFJ. So there you go.
Hey, that's no worries. What's it called? I seen that I was an INFJ about around November. So I made sure I researched every MBI type as thoroughly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you,
I don't.
I
A
don't
lot
doubt
a
that.
lot of people, especially in this MBTI community, once like they had this fixation about a type of aroma, like they wanna, like they kind of like beg to be an INFJ, which me personally, I wouldn't say. I would just say they would just, you just need to learn self-love and love yourself. But some people just want to just beg for the attention of an INFJ. Like I said before, I always think I know I'm a INFJ, but I don't.
Let me put it
I think
in the most.
I did this for fun, you know.
Yeah, sure.
I really didn't do it for, have an external force to say, you know.
Sure. And the thing I like about this session is that it clearly delineates how you have to take a stance on this issue. You can't not take a stance on it. So, one school of thought is correct. Either Prince and his obvious INFJ-ness was very visible, represents an actual INFJ, or my description of how results to certain tests match up in certain ways and that establishes what type you are better is correct. One of those two things is correct and the other one is incorrect in your instance. And I have to concede that while I disagree with you, you have the strongest argument in general that I'm wrong of probably anybody I've ever typed.
Hey, look, everybody filled with mistakes, man. It's nothing to be like.
Don't be telling me I'm making a mistake, because keep in mind, I am asserting in no uncertain terms that you were wrong. But I'm doing it in the most polite, effy, gentle way as I can.
Oh, what do you mean?
I mean, I'm saying my position is not at all ambivalent, uncertain, or doubtful at all. My position is 100% certain. But I am saying, I'm acknowledging that in the public sphere, my position does stand in stark and demonstrated contrast to most other typologists' positions, including those who deserve at least some respect for taking the subject matter seriously. So in that regard, I'm a bit of an outlier here, and you have good reason to think that I'm the wrong one, not everybody else. It's not true, but you have good reason to think that.
Yeah. It's all love at the end of the day, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I obviously, I was quite sure I was going to end up typing you INFJ, but at the end of the day, I have to go with what seems to me a more sensible explanation of things. So, if you don't want me to publish this, I won't. You let me know.
Hey, you can publish it.
I think it's fascinating. I think people will find it fascinating. I think most people will disagree with me and will agree with you.
like I said before, this is for fun. This is for your channel. Like I said,
I enjoyed it a great deal. I'm happy that I ended up doing this a lot. I appreciate you you hitting me up, and I'm gonna
the
stop.
one thing I know for sure is I am not. Oh, I am not an extrovert. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I literally have friends try to. My real friends have to drag me out the house like by my 2 feet to get me to go to a party. Oh my goodness. I am not an extrovert for nothing. That's actually a factual statement. But
Okay, so I'll stop the recording. We'll end on that. Okay,
okay, that's fine.
stop now.